I was just talking to Jerry back there with TDS Telecom. He says, when you're ready, just call me and I'll make sure we get the guy organized to sign it. And I know the guys over at First Utility, that's not a problem. KUB is not a problem. It's LCUB, and it's just a timing thing. It takes a little bit. It's going to take a day of someone running around to get all of them signatures and then make enough copies to give to staff so it meets the requirements. It's just a time thing. It's not a problem.
Motion?
I move to approve subject to the 3 recommendations.
Second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Discussion and public hearing on the preliminary plat for the villas at Anchor Park, parcels 59 and 59.06, tax map 152, located on the north side of Turkey Creek Road across from Anchor Park. 11.5 acres, 35 units zoned R-1, and the variance from the Farragut subdivision regulations to reduce the required road pavement width from 26 feet to 22 feet to 11 feet lanes. Reduce the required K value for side curves from 49 to 5.88 Street A at the entrance of the Turkey Creek Road. Reduce the required K value for side curves from 49 to 35 Street A, Station 0 plus 73.50 to Station 1 plus 69.98. Reduce the required K value for side curves from 49 to 35 Street A, Station 12 plus 00.34 to Station 76.40. Reduce the required K value for the swag curves from 49 to 5 intersection of Street A and Street B. Reduce the required K value of side curves from 49 to 37.5 Street B, Station 4 plus 41.21 to Station 7 plus 41.13. Reduce the required K value for the swag curves from 49 to 20 Street C, Station 1 plus 17.92 to Station 2 plus 57.92, and reduce the minimum tangent between the curves from 75 to 66.36 feet. Smith Farr Residential Partners applicant. And
Sorry, guys, on the 2 breaks. Oh, great.
Did you get all that?
I think you set the record.
I think that's the longest we've ever had. And like I said the last time, and I'm sure we could all use a refresher course on just what a K value and swag curves are.
I will defer to the technical aspects of that to Chris.
It's a function of the severity of how steep the curve is, how steep the hump is, basically.
Definition of K is used in this.
Right.
Sense.
It's the let me think. It's the grade in the algebraic difference in the grade in and grade out divided by the length.
Grading.
This would be the bulge of the like this, or
so
not the curve, but the actual.
If you had a really steep curve, you have a low K. If you've got a real gradual curve, then high K. Both sag and crest curves.
But anyway,
Sorry about that.
this is actually, when the applicant came in to us, staff recommended that they look at this just because of the concerns that we have addressed in the past with speeding, that with this hill and kind of with the way the lay of the land is, it would be conducive to speeding. And so Chris went back to the drawing board, and as you approved last month with the concept plan, you kind of gave him the green light and said, yes, we're approving these. And then when he did the more detailed engineering work, it's like, yes, he did need those, and there was an additional one, and that was the last one that Rita read with regards to reducing the minimum tangent between the curves from 75 to 66 feet. Staff is recommending approval of these because the somewhat narrower lanes and the gentler curves should discourage speeding through the neighborhood. We have, when Bridgemore subdivision came in, we did some fairly extensive training with regards to, rather than designing streets to a minimum speed, we the idea is to design streets to a maximum speed, because the idea is that if a street is designed, for example, at a 35-mile-per-hour speed, if I'm not watching my odometer, I can be going pretty close to that and not realize I'm speeding through the neighborhood. And so the idea here is to reduce it so that it's still very safe, but I will feel more comfortable going 25 miles per hour than I will speeding. And so that's the goal with this. And then it is actually something that, as we proceed with some amendments to the subdivision regulations, we will be looking at some of those aspects so that it would no longer be a variance. It would be something that more or less that our town engineer would be looking at with the new ITE standards with regards to that. But until that point in time, we're looking at it on a case-by-case basis, and we are recommending approval of these variances. So you can approve the variances, and then we can go on the rest.
And Ruth, will you remind us why we voted on those last time, but we have an addition, but we're voting on all 7 again?
Basically, this is
now.
really just to cover all of our bases, because you said yes during the concept stage, but now Chris has done the more detailed engineering work, and he has confirmed that, yes, I really do need those. The way the state law reads and the way our regulations reads is when there's variances from the requirements, since these are actually the construction plans, it's just best to do it again so that there are no questions of that we have not followed our own rules.
Ruth, am I allowed to vote on this since I wasn't?
Sure.
You voted last.
No, we just voted on the concept plan
Okay.
last time.
So that's
you are,
okay.
Yeah, this is the first time all of you have seen the preliminary plat.
Ruth, I got a kind of question on this mechanism for traffic calming. We had all that discussions on Saddle Ridge, and when I go up there, it looks like they did a pretty good job in designing those roads for traffic calming purposes. And they're not really comfortable to be speeding on, but everybody's complaining about them speeding on them.
I would disagree with you on that one, because if you aren't watching your speedometer, you're going down that hill way too fast. And I have been known to set my cruise control when I'm in subdivisions, because I would be very embarrassed if I got a speeding ticket in a subdivision. And as you're going down the hill, you have to really watch yourself. And that's very similar to this, actually, is that we're trying to introduce some curves, narrow the lanes, reduce that comfort level. Jay McBride, who's been primarily the person we've been dealing with from the applicant side, they're also going to be adding street trees to give that feeling of.
Equate it to driving on Gay Street or downtown, where you've got the narrower lanes and you've got more obstruction, kind of more of a tunnel look. It's human factors.
At the same time, this, because there's so many driveways, it still allows for the sight distance.
Well, the sight distance is because the variances are on dips rather than crests. If it's on a crest, it would create a problem with people as they're backing out. They wouldn't have adequate sight distance. But with a dip, it really just gives you the, ooh, your stomach kind of goes if you go over it too fast. So it does not affect the safety with regards to sight distance. Darrell is very, you don't grant variances if it affects sight distance and that kind of aspect of safety. So, he is fine with these. Does that kind of help?
Have a motion?
Do the
Yeah, first
variance.
the variances, and then we'll talk about the subject.
I move that we approve the variance request.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The second aspect of this is approving the plat itself. At this time, I would really like to commend Chris and the applicant. We met with Jay McBride. There is a specimen red oak on this property, and it is toward the top on the east side of the proposed road. And they shuffled around their buildings and are saving this red oak. This is, by the arborist, they are estimating this is the largest red oak in the county, and it is a very healthy specimen. So they are hiring arborists, an arborist, and they are implementing some pretty heavy-duty protection measures for this red oak. There will be a chain link fence around it for the duration of construction. They will be putting mulch on the roots. Oak trees are extremely sensitive. Chris kind of moved the curve a little bit farther away again, and to further protect it, to get the units in. So at the staff level, we just really appreciate what they have done to save this oak tree, because it doesn't happen very often that it actually works, so we're quite pleased. But anyway, we are recommending approval of the plat, subject to items 1 through 16, number 16 being meet all town requirements, and like 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, and that are kind of just housekeeping things with submitting letters of credit and drainage fee and that sort of thing.
No, ma'am.
Any questions? And you all are okay with all of the requirements?
And to approve the preliminary plat subject to the staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 8, discussion and public hearing on a request to amend the Farragut zoning ordinance, Chapter 3, Section 15, Regional Commercial District, C-2, to allow motorized wakeboard cable system. David L. McFarland, applicant.
We're going to change for a minute here, hopefully. Let's try this one. Maybe that'll work. Nope, that one. Not real good at these little.
When you get this.
Yeah, when I get. Let's see here.
If you don't get this on the computer, maybe we can have the mayor give us a demonstration.
Last time we talked about this, it's a System 2.0 electric motorized wakeboard system, and Dave McFarland is here to answer any questions with regards to, several of you had some questions last time, and he's prepared to answer those, but also wanted to okay. I hit this if anything happens. Yeah, it does. Let's see here. That's why I went back to the overhead. But one of the reasons we went back to the overhead. Got a little bit more information, but apparently, even though it works just fine on other computers, it's not going to work just fine on this computer.
David, why don't you start out by just telling us a little bit about it? Oh. Okay.
Can I have the sound on this one?
Well, you know, that would be nice, wouldn't it?